Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of How to Break Star Survivors. Today, we're going to be looking at a build that I've been alluding to for a good while. This is the sort of great, the great winner of the most recent patch. Sorry, my throat is a little sore now. Is the great winner of the background update patch. Nova was, prior to this patch, considered not necessarily the worst hero, just because she had the 4 and 6 unit passive split, which was good enough to beat out Raynor before. But it was that she didn't really have a really cohesive image. And everything about this patch, the addition of the Snipivac, the buff to the Hellion, which we're going to be taking, and the rework of her ability, which is the key to making this build work, all compound together to create the current strongest build in the game. Now, it might be a surprise if you're used to Nova, the idea that we're going to actually banish ghosts. Ghosts are a really good unit. We're going to banish them. We do not need them this game. Do we take resocialization? We should take resocialization because it's, one, it's the same effect as Hellions, but two, it's just extremely important for our other units. Now, the idea behind this build is that Snipe attaches every successful last hit with Snipe, every successful kill, increases our hero damage by 0.5% of max life. So what we're going to do is, and that past life applies to units and to buildings, and it applies, and it goes up linearly. It doesn't have a cap. So the goal of this build is to combine that with black market weapons, which increases the attack speed of our hero. So this is going to be an actual hero build in the sense that our hero is doing the damage this time. But the main way it's going to really leverage that is by pushing the percent damage. So we're not getting hero damage, we're just getting we're just getting black market weapons for the attack speed. So we do that percent damage faster. Nova doesn't have anything that scales her flat, or like her baseline hero damage at all. So we're not going to worry about that. The result of this is that we can take speed, money, which are the best like convenience passives, and then we're going to take resocialization of black market weapons, and we just have a very complete build. For our units, we're going to go Hellion Tank Goliath, or Hellion Tank Viking, or Hellion Tank Ghost, or Hellion Ghost Goliath. So some combination of Hellion Tank, Goliath, Viking, Ghost, and Snipivac. My preferred way to play it is Hellion Tank Goliath, because we get the 2 ground AoEs, and we get Nova's coverage plus Goliaths to handle air. Everything is mechs, so that makes our bounty caches more streamlined, because if you don't have barracks units or starport units, you won't get the starport or barracks caches. Now, we don't want Vikings. I think I ready and saved the last point. Now, compared to other openings, this is probably the worst opening of any of the characters. But because, we don't need much to start getting rolling, and your main goal early game is to just build up those last hits on Snipe. You want to use Snipe off cooldown to kill something. Thankfully, for most of the game, at least most of the early game, this isn't too difficult, because Snipe deals 40% max health plus 50. So the moment you see something in orange, you can snipe it. Her other ability is the tactical suit, which increases her movement speed by 100% and makes her invincible for a brief amount of time. Currently, it's 1.4 seconds. It increases by 7% per level. By 0.07 seconds per level. So 007 seconds. Wonder if that was intentional. So here's our final unit. Once you have all of your units on a hero, it'll always offer a unit you have in the top row. So getting the full layout of units on heroes that don't have as many is really useful for leveling up faster. And Nova has 4, which is on the middle end, but because of Medivac, one of our units ends up not taking up nearly as much space. So we're going to really show off just how quickly that even though we're only at about 10%, that's already enough to really leverage how good our hero damage is. So we now 10-shot this hatchery. And we would 10-shot anything. While this is going, we're going to continue sniping. Sniping larva is really efficient because it gives us that extra percent, while also, getting us the free healing. So we're going to attack side objectives with wild abandon here. I'm going to actually banish these to try to get afterburners and what else do we need? Afterburners and smart servos faster, the 2 speed passives. But in the meantime, I'm going to take Jorium, smart servos, afterburners. That's our passive setup we want. More Jorium. Tanks are really, really good, but we don't really need to level up tanks super fast because unlike other heroes, and see, dead. Unlike other heroes, we can handle buildings really efficiently. We can handle rocks really efficiently. Ben Brode would be very happy for us, I think. And yeah, the reason I consider this the best build is just because all of these major late game threats become point and click. Our ground army is completely covered in AoE, so we don't get surrounded. We're not worried about the threats that we aren't focusing down. Single target damage is not necessarily super important in this game, but combining single target and splash is. So if you're a pure single target build, isn't going to do as well. Now, one of the things that makes us extremely efficient at hunting down big objectives is that we can go in with tactical suit and kill it while we are completely invincible. So, yeah. The actual unit patterns at this point don't really matter. Most of what we're going to get levels out of, now that we have everything we need, is going to be chests. I'm going to save my next... medevac usage to get the next side objective, and in the meantime, I'm just going to walk to these hatcheries and layers and such. As we saw with the Swan build, we're not in much of a rush to actually get all of the hatcheries killed. Obviously, we want to be doing that throughout the early game, but we don't have to delay killing these side objectives in order to do that. And here's a cluster of 3 layers that we're just going to completely obliterate. Now, one of the benefits of black market weapons that I didn't really talk about is that it also increases your range. I might have mentioned before that range is, as the passive by itself, the worst passive in the game by far. But the actual effect for heroes is pretty nice because you're protecting your hero better. It's not like you're killing stuff out of range of all of your units. It lets you have more, self-determination with your protection. And in the case of Swan, it also helped because it meant that the bots attacked sooner and worked better in covering you. I'm literally just going to shift queue these 2 layers now. And yeah, that only is going to get more and more absurd. Obviously, at 10%, you 10-shot everything. At 15%, you start 7-shotting everything. At 17%, you 6-shot everything. At 20%, you 5-shot everything. And I try to get to 20%. Obviously, if you can get lower than that, or yeah, if you can get to the point where you're shooting everything down and less damage than that, that's better. More damage is good. But we're not too worried about it because just getting even just to 15% is going to cover you really well. Now, something you're starting to see is that units start reaching this point where they're either either they're at full health or dead, and they don't die to 1 snipe. So it starts getting a lot harder to land snipe. Snipe has a long windup. We're going to take movement speed here. Movement speed, it's my favorite thing. And stacking movement speed with her ability, with medevac, with with just the movement speed passives is really, really good. So now Tank and Goliath are going to level up when we get to our next chest. Yeah, see, like I use rapid fire snipe, and it's still not fast enough to get like lings that my Hellions are getting onto. And then tanks are going to start one-shotting everything. It's tricky. It's the one thing about this build that doesn't feel like super convenient, but it's, you know, if that was more convenient, we'd be really just destroying the game more than we already are. As usual, you want to grab the valuable minerals. In this case, you just kind of get to point down big enemies and kill them. I'm going to use my tactical suit here to get to the side objective faster. I think this tooltip isn't properly updating because it's definitely lasting for more than 1.5 seconds now. But yeah, because this gives us movement speed, it's an alternative way to move around than... Actually, I'm just going to upgrade my movement speed, upgrade my convenience. My units are already doing more than they need to. If you want to play super aggressive, right now you can fly directly into the hive. I'm not going to do that. I don't think we need to, and I think we're better off just clearing up to it. But note that this is the... yeah, that was a wasted snipe. This is the kind of build that can start getting extremely aggressive like that. Just because Nova by herself handles so much. Another great benefit is that because cooldowns are going down while you're in the medevac, you can use medevac for safety, and then when you come out of medevac, you can be stealthed. Even if stealth wasn't off cooldown when you used it. So here, the next side objective, rather than going over to it, especially since it's so far away, I'm going to clear out this area. And in order to make that slightly easier, I'm actually going to level up my units. So here, I'm going to try to wait until units are orange health to try to snipe them. We're at 17%, so we're already in the 6-shot range on everything. Do note that shielded enemies, because the shield is like over their max health, they do take longer to kill, so the stuff like the hybrids late game, you're going to need more hits, but with how quickly we fire, even that is like barely a downside. Even though Snipe does a lot of damage, I like to use it just to level up Nova's attack damage. If you're not playing with black market weapons, honestly, just play with black market weapons. You get so much value out of just one passive that just makes you attack 3 times faster that I don't think it's worth it to not play into it. And that's a big reason why I think this is so strong. There's very little reason not to just leverage the strength of medevac plus a cellular reactor with whatever you want, and whatever else I wanted was just all of the strongest units. Here, again, if you're in danger from big threats, just press hold position, and Nova will kill everything once you're at a decent percentage. We want to get this like big density of money here, and then we're going to fly over to here. So yeah, we delayed bounties, caches a little bit for this, but I think it was worth it to finish the hive slightly earlier. It's very easy to just get dragged every single way if you don't like take a moment and say, hold on, actually I'd like to do this thing before I worry about that. And here, prioritize right-clicking down like the highest health targets because your splash units will handle everything else. So here, advanced ultimate gear. Again, we saw with Swan how useful that is at a higher level, but we have Goliaths, which we start with. We have 9 of. Each Goliath helps us a lot. Tanks benefit more from rapid recruitment than anything else, and Hellions have a sneaky benefit from it. Because their evolve doubles them, they actually get 2 from each resock and from each rapid recruitment. So we have, what is this? 13, so we're going to get 2 more. We're going to go up to 15 after we hit 30 levels. Now, despite saying that, I'm not actually going to be putting those levels into it for a while. As we saw, I like to unlevel the artifacts as soon as possible. They're pain, and it's worth it to reduce that pain for your sake. Having said that, that's what we do to the vaults. We just collect them. While we're still invincible, we're going to kill Molten Sal. And the game is just gonna... The game is genuinely crumbling. I really am happy about this build. I was a big lover of Nova before... In Star Survivors. I was a big fan of her before this buff. Now this buff just makes her amazing. You can even use Snipe on this side objective if you want to. Any side objective that's like a functioning unit you can snipe. You can't snipe the buildings, but no, we can't have everything, just most of it. Come up here, get this vault, and then we're not going to use our... We're not going to worry about the side objective until we can medevac over. And in fact, in this case, this is a case we can be a little sneaky with the map positioning. What we're going to do is we're going to actually go to the high ground here so that we can kill this from the low ground, or from the high ground, and also get the side objective. But we're only doing that after we get the medevac cooldown off. Hero damage looks good. We don't want it because our actual flat damage is completely irrelevant. 800% at 100 levels of 30 is like, what? 240 are going to be 270. Our damage is in the tens of thousands once we're really fleshed out. Flat damage, not useful for any of our units. Raven Cash, not useful at all because we have Ghost Vision, so we're going to just take the life there. And then movement speed is the best, is the worst debuff, so it's the one we want to unnerf first. If you're doing challenge runs and such, you want to like really think about movement speed before grabbing it. If you're just like playing a build you're not confident in or that you're scared of, if you can just delay how long you take until you take the movement speed debuff, you're going to be pretty safe. And again, that's a big reason why I save points. I try not to put any points into cash until the artifact is done, which it now is. I'm going to grab this chest. We don't need to wait until we have any cooldowns to grab this bounty because it spawned fairly close. But you can see how on a big map, having both this massive speed increase and tactical airlift makes us extremely flexible. This is a great build to play in co-op because you can just be the one who's killing all of the side objectives. If both of you are playing this build, you can get some insane co-op dollars. And we don't care about this at all. We can just punch a hole in it and run. And there we go, artifact's done. I'm gonna grab this dollar. I'm just gonna use my movement speed to get there because I think the movement speed is actually gonna be faster than using medevac. There we go. Genuinely starts to be difficult to keep track of everything on screen. We're at past 20%, so we're now in the 5-shot range. Obviously, the more the merrier. But, going up from 5 shots to 4 shots only matters if you actually hit the benchmark, because otherwise you're not really, you're not getting anything else. Your unit has to do, your units would have to do the rest of the work. Each of those is 10,000 a hit. And that's entirely from the percent interaction. Start putting points into the cache. As usual, we want to stick to the middle of the map. But of course, side objectives will spawn anywhere. The reason we stay to the middle is because that reduces the travel distance to get to ridiculous sides of the map faster. Because if we're stuck in the top right corner, we're going to be struggling if it spawns in the bottom left. Having said that, we just walked here, right? That's a big reason why it's fun to play Nova like this, that she gets multiple different ways to just scurry across the map. That wasn't enough damage to one-shot, that's upsetting. That's fine. Yeah, you start getting like pretty addicted to the trying to get the one-shots, but or trying to get the last hits, but yeah, it's not too big of a deal. If you get to 17, I think you're golden. Any more than that is gravy. And we have a good amount of gravy. This is a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Yep. And because you have so much anti-air and good coverage and splash, you're sort of free to spend like these fight moments looking for those last shots. So you're not like in danger trying to get them. But you're trying to either snipe like Lings, or you're trying to snipe units that are still alive but at 40% health, so like in the orange. If you like seeing big damage numbers, this is a great build for it. Hellions are the only things that are really being able to hit these light units, except our... damn, wasted the snipe. Except our snipes, so a lot of the times when we've passed a lot of light units, we go back, there's Starbucks there, it's really good, it's really fun. Yeah, aside from those like freebie Lings, the main thing we're going to be able to actually get money out of is when we see a big unit and it actually lives long enough for us to snipe it. Here I'm going to try to like gamble to get the snipe, and I think... No, I didn't get it. There we go. Yeah, Nova has a bit of a wind-up to actually get a snipe off. So you kind of have to like act preemptively to try to get it. Here we're choosing between life regeneration and factory damage. This is a tough one. We are really safe though. We have Snipivac. Snipivac provides you with 1.4 healing per second, so it's a lot of what this is going to give us eventually. So we're going to go with the factory damage so that they're keeping up with us. Yeah, we're a hero build, but it's, I think, pretty apparent here that a lot of our damage is still coming from units. It's more that we're solving a major problem with a hero element rather than like with Swan, where everything is being done by hero and we're just using units early to cover us while we ramp up. And like waves like these, obviously we're not getting too much from bounties, but yeah, the stronger our tanks are for this, the better. We actually care about unit attack speed with this build because, again, our units are doing a lot of work. Come over to here. The fact that we're attacking units while using our bounties off cooldown is helping a lot because, like, that we're attacking while using our Snipivac off cooldown. That makes the game, like, we like clear areas like this, and then we can come back and actually get some of the money we missed out on. But we're also, you know, getting that money as we're leaving. The freebie overlord there drops us money, or drops us a health pack. It's good to keep track of, I think. Here we're going to sort of hold our ground here, and then use our ability, run up here and kill this before our stealth runs out. Yep. We love Hero Nova. Now, if you want to try playing this with like a different unit composition, you can. I find that Hellions and then some combination of Ghosts, Tanks, Vikings, and Goliaths does extremely well. And obviously, you can cut the Hellions if you really want more unit damage. I like the Hellions as more of a greed factor. I don't think they're an amazing unit, but I think they hit such a sweet spot of how cheap they are versus what they do for builds that otherwise cover what they need, that they're like almost always worth getting. So it's a case where like a unit that isn't really that strong as a unit is really good to get as a unit. I'm gonna just Medivac out for safety. The cooldown reduction really helps both the Medivac and the stealth, but it also helps the snipe. Like, it's everything we're doing this game loves cooldown reduction. But unlike with Swan, where like it actually upgrades our DPS, we don't really need this for our actual damage. It's just quality of life in every direction. Yeah, there's 36 in the last wave, so even though we've been, I think, a lot more on the ball with artifacts and getting extra cash than we were in the Swan game, yeah, the Goliaths are doing wonderful work against these. Us just hold position is doing wonderful work against these. But even though I think we're in much better bounty chasing situations, we're still not going to be able to get to the point where we hit the 7. That's okay. That is not a requirement of this build at all. We're actually, as you see, I'm kind of struggling to pick a great passive a lot of the time. I took hero health just because there wasn't anything to take. I'd say aside from cooldown and maybe rapid recruitment and movement speed, you don't really need anything, but you don't even really need those. They're just really nice. And yeah, treating bounties as a nice bonus is a huge thing that makes this build strong. We have enough time to come up and get this, so I'm gonna... actually, well, no, because, again, it's not gonna give us another bounty, so I might as well just sit here and farm money. If you can hit a unit a little bit and then back off to let snipe build up, that's the most effective way to actually kill something with snipe. Because, yeah, if you just keep targeting it, it'll die. And Nova gets to be one of the fastest shard killers in the game. Because, again, shards have % life that you're burning through. It's 1, he points into that. I left the Starbucks on the ground of the other one. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to shift Q these, right? We are so much faster than the armies that are trying to chase us. Here's an elite. We get a point for that. Perfect. Could have gotten a snipe. How much am I at? I'm over 25. So the snipe really doesn't need to be done at all now, because we're not getting to 33, which is the next breakpoint, or 33.5. We come over here. This is not the fastest we can kill these shards. This is actually a pretty big map. But it's a 2-player map, so I still think it's kosher. And I think a big map that's limited by still having the small spawns ends up still being fairly difficult to play around. Because once you have the number of bases that can spawn on a true 2-player map, or a true 4-player map or higher, is when you start seeing the ridiculous numbers of hatcheries and such. And as you see, this build does not need the extra money. As usual, though, if you're struggling, if you want to learn the game in a funner environment, you can play on a 4, 8, 12-player map with movement speed and Medivac on this build, and you'll walk over everything. You can regularly hover over your canister rifle to see what your current max life percentage is. This snipe will also tell you how many kills you had, but I think it's easier to keep track of your damage by just looking at your weapon. And now, yeah, we're going to pick up our last cash. Again, hero damage does nothing for us, vision does nothing for us, we're just going to take the health regen and put the rest of our points into here. This was, I would say, pretty unlucky. We didn't get, the movement speed, we didn't get, we were forced to get, or we did get movement speed, we didn't get the attack speed. We were forced to get health, but we still have more than everything we need. Yeah. Well, these guys are threatening. We're just gonna use our tactical stealth, and we're going to right-click them down. Because we get 0.7 seconds 0.07 seconds for each level. At 100 levels, we're getting over 7 extra seconds of stealth time. Now, the stealth time doesn't... the cooldown of that doesn't start until the ability's over, but it does go down while you're in Snipivac, so you can start doing at high amounts of cooldown, at high amount of bounty levels, which we're starting to get up to. You can do stuff like stealth, wait until stealth is over, teleport to the other side of the map with Snipivac, and then stealth again, and then Snipivac again, and you can play absurdly safe. I don't think that's necessary, because I think we also deal a lot of damage, but it's that flexibility and lack of upkeep that makes this build so strong. Like, oh, if these like ever get close to us, we can just push the stealth button, and they won't be able to actually deal damage to us. It's really strong. So I just keep targeting down the biggest health units you see. Just good right-clicking is excellent for this build. Tank Hellion does wonderful things to these squads, and attack speed would have been nice. Just because it would have made it so that stuff doesn't get close to us nearly as much, but it's not close enough that we care. That's the big thing. Like, you can get more power out of this build, but you don't need to. One of the reasons to use ghosts in this build, which I know I banished them, but I only banished them because it made the build more convenient to build. You can banish stuff that you'd otherwise want. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the reason we want ghosts with this build, if we go for them, is that the ghosts they focus on the highest health units nearby, with focusing on their highest current health. So a lot of the times they will massage down a unit into range of snipe and then stop shooting it so you can snipe it. Now, there's a major reason I'm not sniping right now. And that's that snipe actually does lower your DPS because it stops Nova from attacking, and it takes a long time to actually fire. So sniping, especially once you're in this range where each hit is doing over 25%, is actually bad for your DPS. Yep, Thrasher here. Bye. The Thrashers are what I mean when I say that the shields mess with your percent damage, because they have the shields that cover their main health, but your damage is only affecting their main health, not their Thrasher health, or not their total attack combined health. But as you can see, they're not really surviving that long anyway. I'd say at this point is where Star Survivors is properly, truly being broken in half. And we'll see, even with the aim on clear, that it's about as convenient for that as well. We're spending full 10 seconds invulnerable at a time. Snipivac out. Our units are no pushovers, but now we use stealth. Kill that. Before stealth runs out, we come over and take out the same on health bar. Stealth is still not run out. We knock out this shard. Stealth is still not run out. It's finally run out. Snipivac almost up. Yeah, we're just gonna Snipivac over to here. Amon's gonna chase us. Shop, because why not? And then kill Amon. GG. Beautiful. And thank you for watching. I hope this series has helped you play Star Survivors better.